Collectors were calling Ethan's gallery, offering to pay premium prices for advance viewings. The show was already sold out, every ticket claimed, every seat at the opening reception filled. And through all of it, Derek and Chelsea had no idea. I'd been keeping tabs on them through social media. Chelsea posted constantly, photos of her engagement ring, pictures of her and Derek at fancy restaurants, selfies captioned with things like power couple and living my best life. Derek had been quieter since the fraud investigation began. His company's stock had tanked. Several business partners had publicly distanced themselves from him. Victoria Morrison had released a statement saying the family was disappointed, but standing by Derek during this difficult time. In other words, his perfect life was crumbling. Good. One evening, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Maya. The voice was familiar, slimy. Derek. My stomach turned. How did you get this number? I have my ways. Listen, I need to talk to you. Can we meet? No. Please. 5 minutes. Just hear me out. I have nothing to say to you. I made a mistake, okay? A huge mistake. Chelsea and I, it's not working out. The investigation, the stress, I realize now what I lost. I need you, Maya. I still love you. I laughed. Actually laughed. You need me? Let me guess. Your life is falling apart. Chelsea showed her true colors, and now you want your backup plan back. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. You didn't love me, Derek. You loved having someone you could control, someone who made you feel important. And when that got boring, you traded me in for someone shinier. Well, guess what? I'm not your safety net. I'm not your second choice. I'm not anything to you anymore. Maya, please. Lose this number. And if you ever try to contact me again, I'll file a restraining order. Goodbye, Derek. He smiled slightly. Maya, you're a talented artist who's about to have a breakthrough show. Is it so hard to believe that people want to support your work? Yes, when it's anonymous and perfectly timed to help me exactly when I need it. He turned to face me, his expression serious. Let's say, hypothetically, that someone with resources saw someone else with talent and wanted to invest in their future. Would that be so terrible? That depends on why they're doing it. What if they're doing it because they believe in you? Because they see something special in you that has nothing to do with revenge or business or anything except pure potential? He stepped closer. What if they're doing it because watching you rise is the best thing that's happened to them in years? My heart was pounding. We were standing so close I could see flecks of gold in his dark eyes. The studio felt suddenly smaller, more intimate. Ethan, I whispered. I'm not Derek, he said softly. I don't want to control you or change you or make you fit into some box of who you should be. I just want to watch you become who you're meant to be. And if I can help with that, why shouldn't I? Because I need to know this is real, I said. My success, my work. I need to know it's mine, not something bought for me. It is yours. Every bit of it. He touched my cheek gently. I can open doors, Maya, but you're the one who has to walk through them. I can introduce you to collectors, but you're the one who has to create work that moves them. Everything you've accomplished, you've earned. I'm just making sure the right people see it. I wanted to believe him. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, I did. The pre-show buzz. With 2 weeks until the show, the buzz around Luna Shadows had reached a fever pitch. Art bloggers were posting speculation about her identity daily. Is she serious? Completely. She even suggested that I should show her my best artists because she and Derek are looking to invest in emerging talent. He snorted, as if her tacky taste could recognize real art. After we hung up, I sat staring at my latest painting. Chelsea wanted to be an art collector. She wanted to insert herself into my world, the one place that had always been mine. Fine. Let her come. Let her spend Derek's dirty money trying to buy her way into the art community. Because soon, very soon, she was going to find out exactly who Luna Shadows was, and it was going to destroy her. I channeled my anger into my work. I painted faster, bolder, letting every emotion pour onto the canvas. The pieces grew darker, more intense. I painted a woman made of shattered mirrors, each piece reflecting a different lie. I painted hands reaching up from beneath water, clawing toward light. I painted freedom and fury and the sweet, bitter taste of watching your enemies fall. The mysterious benefactor. Strange things started happening as my show date approached. Good things. First, I received an anonymous donation of $50,000 to a scholarship fund I'd set up for young artists from underprivileged backgrounds, something I'd started with my first payment from Ethan's gallery. Then, the landlord of my studio building called to say that someone had paid my rent for the next 2 years. Then, I got an email from a prestigious art magazine saying they'd been given an anonymous tip about Luna Shadows and wanted to do a feature article, without revealing my identity, of course. "Ethan," I said during one of his studio visits, "is this you?" "Is what me?" He examined a painting of a woman holding scales, with hearts on one side and stones on the other. "The donations, the rent, the magazine feature. Someone's helping me, and I have a feeling it's you. Something about falsifying property values and cooking the books to get loans. Apparently, someone tipped off the Securities and Exchange Commission with evidence. If it's true, he could face criminal charges." I paid for my supplies in a daze and called Ethan the moment I got to my car. "Did you hear about Derek?" I asked. "I did." His voice was carefully neutral. "Interesting development." "Ethan." I gripped the steering wheel. "Did you have something to do with this?" Silence. "Then, let's just say I have friends in various industries. And when I hear about people committing fraud, I feel morally obligated to make sure the proper authorities are informed." "You investigated him." "I investigate everyone I do business with. It's good practice. The fact that Derek Morrison turned out to be a criminal was just fortunate timing. I should have felt guilty. I should have felt bad that Derek's life was falling apart. But all I felt was a savage satisfaction. He'd tried to destroy me for fun. Now he was facing real consequences. "Thank you," I whispered. "Don't thank me. Thank his own arrogance. I just made sure the right people saw what was already there." He paused. "How's the work coming?" "Almost done. I have 3 more pieces to finish." "Good. The show opens in 6 weeks. Think you'll be ready?" "Yes." I smiled. "I'm going to be ready to set the whole art world on fire." Chelsea's jealousy grows. It was Marcus who first told me about Chelsea's reaction to Luna Shadows. "You're not going to believe this," he said, calling me one afternoon. Chelsea Park was just at my gallery, asking about Luna Shadows. My blood ran cold. What did she say? She wanted to know if I knew anything about Luna, if I could get her work. Apparently, she's decided she's an art collector now. Marcus's voice dripped with sarcasm. She was bragging about how she's engaged to Derek Morrison and how they're going to be the most influential couple in the city's art scene. Ethan was quiet for a moment, his dark eyes thoughtful. "When I was 23, I was engaged to a woman named Isabel. Beautiful, charming, from a wealthy family. Everyone said we were perfect together. I waited, sensing there was more. A month before the wedding, I found out she'd been cheating on me with my business partner. They'd been planning to steal my gallery contacts and open their own space together. The engagement was just her way of getting close to my network." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "She didn't count on me having backup files and a good lawyer. I ruined both their careers, got everything they tried to take from me, and spent the next 10 years building an empire they could only dream of." "Revenge," I said softly. "Justice," he corrected. "There's a difference. Revenge is about hurting them. Justice is about making sure they face the consequences of their actions while you become something greater than they ever imagined." He looked at me. "When I saw you at that gallery, refusing to break despite their cruelty, I saw someone worth investing in. Not because I pity you, but because I recognize that fire. You're going to be extraordinary, Maya. And watching Derek Morrison realize what he lost is just going to be a pleasant bonus." I felt something shift between us then, an understanding, a connection deeper than business. We both knew what betrayal felt like. We both knew how to turn pain into power. The pieces fall into place. 4 months into my transformation, something interesting happened. I was at an art supply store, stocking up on canvas, when I overheard 2 women talking. "Did you hear about Derek Morrison?" one said, her voice excited with gossip. "His company is being investigated for fraud." My hands froze on the canvas frame I was holding. "Really? What kind of fraud?" "That's how you know it's good." An unexpected connection. Working with Ethan was different from anything I'd experienced before. With Derek, everything had been about control, where we went, what I wore, how I presented myself. Derek had loved the idea of having an artist girlfriend, but he'd hated when my art got too real, too raw, too honest. Ethan was the opposite. He pushed me to go deeper, to be braver, to stop censoring myself. He'd show up at my studio with coffee and pastries, sit quietly while I worked, and then offer insights that made me see my own work differently. "This piece," he said one evening, pointing at a painting of a phoenix rising from ashes made of money. "The symbolism is obvious, but there's something else here. The phoenix isn't just rising. She's angry. See the fire in her eyes? That's what makes this work. It's not about graceful rebirth. It's about furious survival." I stared at the painting, seeing it through his eyes. "You're right. I was trying to make it pretty, but pretty isn't honest." "Exactly." He handed me a brush. "So make it honest." I worked for another 2 hours that night, adding harsher strokes, darker shadows, more intensity. When I stepped back, the phoenix looked like she could burn down the whole world and would enjoy doing it. "Perfect," Ethan said softly. We ordered takeout and ate sitting on my studio floor, surrounded by paintings. It felt natural, comfortable in a way that being with Derek never had. With Derek, I'd always been performing, trying to be the right version of myself. With Ethan, I could just be. "Can I ask you something?" I said, pushing lo mein around with my chopsticks. "Anything. Why are you doing this?" "Helping me, I mean. You could work with any artist in the world. Why take a chance on someone whose biggest claim to fame is a public humiliation?" "The art world loves a mystery," he'd said. "And right now, everyone in this city knows Maya Roberts as Derek Morrison's ex-fiancée, the girl who got humiliated at her own gallery opening. That story will overshadow your work." I'd bristled at first. So I should hide. Pretend to be someone else. Not hide. Transform. Create a new identity for your art. One that's separate from your personal drama. Let the work speak for itself without the baggage. Then, when the time is right, when you're ready, you can reveal yourself and watch their jaws drop. It made sense. Luna Shadows became my pseudonym. Mysterious, artistic, completely separate from Maya Roberts. Ethan spread carefully crafted rumors about Luna being a reclusive artist from overseas, someone whose work was brutally honest and deeply emotional. The art community ate it up. Within weeks, Luna Shadows was the most talked about new artist in contemporary circles. Art bloggers speculated about her identity. Collectors were calling Ethan's gallery, asking for previews of the upcoming show. Magazine editors wanted interviews, which we politely declined, adding to the mystery. And Derek? Chelsea? Victoria? They had no idea that the artist everyone was buzzing about was the woman they'd tried to destroy. I worked 16-hour days, painting piece after piece. Each canvas was a chapter of my story. The betrayal, the humiliation, the anger, the rebirth. I painted women breaking free from golden cages. I painted hearts turning to stone and then to diamonds. I painted revenge as art. Ethan would visit weekly to check my progress. Each time, he'd study the new work in silence, his expression thoughtful. "You're channeling something powerful," he said during one visit. "These aren't just paintings. They're declarations of war." "Is that a bad thing?" I asked, suddenly nervous. "No," he smiled. "It's exactly what the world needs to see. Too many artists play it safe. You're painting truth, and truth makes people uncomfortable." I cut my hair short, a sleek bob that made me look older, more confident. I'd started working out every morning, not to look a certain way, but to feel strong. I'd taken every penny I'd saved and invested in myself. New clothes that made me feel powerful, art supplies that didn't come from the discount bin, a subscription to all the art magazines and industry newsletters. Most importantly, I'd stopped apologizing for taking up space. Ethan had been true to his word. He'd given me complete creative freedom and connected me with other artists in his network. Through him, I'd met gallery owners, collectors, critics, people who saw my work and actually understood it. For the first time in my life, I wasn't begging for scraps of validation. I was being offered opportunities. "You've changed," Marcus said one afternoon when he stopped by my studio. He'd become a friend after that disastrous opening, checking in on me regularly. "You're glowing." "I'm angry," I corrected him with a smile. "Turns out rage is an excellent motivator." He laughed, examining my latest painting, a woman holding a mirror that reflected not her face, but her soul. "This is incredible, Maya. Seriously, the show at Cross Gallery is going to blow people's minds." I hope it blows some specific minds, I muttered, thinking of Derek and Chelsea. Have you heard from them? Marcus asked carefully. No, and I've made sure they won't. I'd blocked them everywhere, changed my phone number, and instructed Marcus and everyone else in my life not to share information about me. As far as Derek and Chelsea knew, I'd disappeared completely. Good. Let them wonder. Let them think they'd broken me so thoroughly I'd vanished. They had no idea what was coming. The secret identity, Luna Shadows, was born out of necessity and strategy. Ethan had suggested it one evening over coffee as we discussed my upcoming show. Yes, I said. I can do that. Good. I'll have my assistant send over the contract. Your show opens in 6 months. That gives you time to create something that will make the art world stop and stare. After we hung up, I stood in my studio and felt something I hadn't felt in years, excitement. Not the nervous, anxious excitement of trying to please someone else, but the fierce, burning excitement of creating something purely for myself. I picked up my paintbrush and approached a fresh canvas. I didn't have a plan, didn't have a sketch. I just started painting. Red. Angry, brilliant red. The color of betrayal, of blood, of rage. I painted a woman rising from ashes, her face fierce, her body strong. I painted her surrounded by people trying to pull her down, but she was breaking free, becoming something more powerful than they could imagine. I painted until my arms ached, until the sun rose and set again, until the canvas was covered with the truth I'd been too afraid to acknowledge. They'd tried to destroy me, but instead, they'd set me free. And now, they were going to regret it. Welcome back to Twisted Heartstrings. If you missed part 1, check it out now. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the epic conclusion. The transformation begins. 3 months had passed since that nightmare at the gallery. 3 months since I'd deleted Derek's number and signed the contract with Ethan Cross. 3 months since I decided to stop being a victim and start being a warrior. My studio looked completely different now. Gone were the soft pastels and romantic landscapes I'd painted trying to please Derek and his mother. Instead, my walls were covered with bold, fierce pieces. Women rising from darkness, breaking chains, standing tall against storms. Each painting told a story of survival and strength. But the biggest change wasn't in my art. It was in me. I deleted his number. Then I deleted Chelsea's. Then I blocked both of them on every platform I could think of. Marcus was closing up, dimming the gallery lights one by one. Are you going to be okay? He asked gently. I looked around at my paintings, at the art I'd created from my soul, and made a decision. Yes, I said firmly. I'm going to be better than okay. I'm going to be extraordinary. The decision to fight back. That night, I didn't go home. I couldn't face my empty studio, the walls covered with sketches of Derek, the bed where we'd made plans for our future. Instead, I walked. I walked through the city streets until my feet ached, until the sun started to rise, until I'd thought through every moment of the past 2 years. I'd been weak. I'd let Derek's money blind me to his flaws. I'd let Victoria's cruelty chip away at my confidence. I'd let Chelsea's betrayal make me question my own worth. I'd been so focused on fitting into their world that I'd forgotten I had my own. But no more. By the time I finally made it home, I knew what I had to do. I took out every painting, every sketch, every reminder of Derek from my studio, and piled them in the center of the room. Then I took a photo, evidence of what I was leaving behind. I called in sick to my waitressing job. Then I called Ethan Cross. Miss Roberts, he answered on the second ring. I was hoping to hear from you. I want the show, I said. But I have conditions. I'm listening. I want complete creative control. No compromises, no notes, no pressure to make my work more commercial. I paint what I want, how I want. And I want 50% of all sales, not the usual 30. There was a pause. Then done. But I have a condition of my own. What? I want honesty. Raw, real, powerful work. No more playing it safe. You paint from your pain, your anger, your truth. Can you do that? I looked at the pile of paintings in the center of my studio, at all the art I'd made trying to be someone I wasn't. I'm sorry, I muttered. This is incredibly unprofessional. It's human. He pulled out a business card and held it out to me. My name is Ethan Cross. I own Cross Gallery in Manhattan. I'd like to offer you a show, a real one, in a space where your work will be appreciated and protected. Think about it. I took the card with shaking hands. Ethan Cross. I knew that name. Cross Gallery was one of the most prestigious contemporary art spaces in the country. Why would you offer that to someone you just met? I asked suspiciously. Because tonight, while those parasites were mocking you, I watched you refuse to break. I watched you stand tall and insist on continuing your show despite public humiliation. That kind of strength is rare, Miss Roberts, and it deserves to be rewarded. He paused at the door. Also, I'll send payment for the painting tomorrow. Consider it a down payment on our future collaboration. Then he was gone, leaving me standing in the empty gallery with Marcus staring at me in shock. Did that just happen? Marcus breathed. Did Ethan Cross just offer you a show? I looked down at the business card in my hand, then at the painting of the drowning woman. Something shifted inside me then. The pain was still there, the humiliation, the betrayal. But underneath it all, I felt something new stirring. Not hope exactly. Something darker and stronger. Anger. They tried to break me tonight. Derek, Chelsea, Victoria, they joined forces to humiliate me in the one place I should have been safe, doing the one thing that was purely mine. They'd expected me to crumble, to run away crying, to disappear from their world without a fight. But I was still standing, and now I had an opportunity they'd never expected. I picked up my phone and looked at the last text Derek had sent me 2 days ago. Can't wait to see you shine at your show, baby. Love you. Lies. All of it had been lies. I'd painted it during a dark moment, thinking about how Derek's wealth felt like it was suffocating who I really was. The stranger stood there for a long time, just looking. Then he turned to me. How much? His voice was deep, cultured. It's not for sale, I stammered. That one's part of my permanent collection. Everything's for sale at the right price. He smiled slightly. 50,000. I blinked. That painting had a price tag of 8,000. Already the most expensive piece in the show. I'm sorry, but 100,000. Marcus, who'd been hovering nearby, made a choking sound. Why? I asked. Why do you want it so badly? The stranger tilted his head, studying me now instead of the painting. Because I understand it. That feeling of being trapped by gold, by expectations, by a life that glitters but slowly kills you. You've captured something true here, Miss Roberts. Something rare. He knew my name. I hadn't told him. I've been following your work for about a year now, he continued, as if reading my mind. Small pieces in various galleries, mostly overlooked. You have genuine talent, but you've been hiding it. Playing it safe. What? I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. His gaze was intense, but not unkind. You've been painting what you think people want to see instead of what you need to say. Except for this one. This one is honest. Tears threatened again, but I pushed them back. It's been a difficult night. I saw what happened earlier. That circus with the Morrison family. He said their name like it tasted bad. They're known for their cruelty. I'm sorry you had to endure that publicly. You know them? Unfortunately. Business dealings, mostly. Derek Morrison is a fool, by the way. Only an idiot would betray someone with your talent and strength. His words shouldn't have meant anything. He was a stranger, but somehow they cracked something open inside me. I felt tears finally spill over, and I quickly wiped them away. What was that? Victoria asked, cupping her ear mockingly. I said get out. My voice rang through the gallery. All of you. This is my show, my space, and you're not welcome here. Leave. Now. For a moment, no one moved. Then Victoria laughed again. Well, I suppose we know where we're not wanted. Come along, everyone. Let's leave the poor dear to her little paintings. They filed out like a parade, Victoria leading the way, Chelsea on Derek's arm. As they reached the door, Derek looked back at me one last time. I saw something in his eyes, guilt, maybe, or regret. But he didn't say anything. He just turned and left. The gallery was half empty now. The remaining guests looked uncomfortable, unsure whether to stay or go. I stood in the center of the room, surrounded by my art, and felt more alone than I'd ever felt in my life. Marcus, the gallery owner, touched my shoulder gently. Maya, I'm so sorry. That was unconscionable. It's fine, I said automatically, even though nothing was fine. Why don't we close early tonight? Give you some time to. No. My voice was firm. No, we're staying open. This is my show, and I worked too hard for it to end like this. He nodded, respect in his eyes. All right, then let's get you a drink and start fresh. The stranger in the shadows. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. A few collectors stayed, more out of curiosity than genuine interest. I smiled. I talked about my work. I pretended my heart wasn't breaking into smaller and smaller pieces. It was near closing time when he walked in. He was tall, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to see too much. He wore a simple black suit, expensive but understated, and he moved through the gallery like he owned it, confident but not arrogant. He stopped in front of my largest painting, a canvas I'd titled Drowning in Gold. It showed a woman underwater, surrounded by golden coins that weighed her down. Her face was peaceful despite the drowning, as if she'd accepted her fate. Derek's face went pale when he saw me. Chelsea's smile, on the other hand, grew wider. She looked directly at me, then pressed herself closer to Derek. Surprise! Victoria called out cheerfully. Derek, darling, you made it. And you brought Chelsea. How wonderful. I stood frozen, unable to process what I was seeing. Derek gently, too gently, untangled himself from Chelsea and walked toward me. Maya, I can explain. Explain what? My voice came out steady, which surprised me. Explain why you brought the woman you cheated on me with to my gallery opening? Or explain why your mother seems so delighted about it. Victoria's laugh was like breaking glass. Oh, you poor dear. Did you really not know? Derek and Chelsea have been planning to get back together. They dated all through college, you know. You were just a little distraction while Chelsea was in Europe. But now she's back, and well, she gestured at them like presenting a prize. Here we are. The guests began whispering. I heard the words pathetic and gold digger, and so embarrassing. Chelsea walked up to me, her heels clicking on the polished floor. I'm sorry, Maya, she said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. But Derek and I have real history. Real chemistry. What you two had was, well, it was sweet while it lasted. But let's be honest, you were never really right for him. Different worlds, you know? She held up her left hand. On her finger was a diamond ring. Massive, sparkling, obviously expensive. The engagement ring I'd been wearing was simple, elegant. This was a statement. Derek proposed last night, Chelsea announced to the room. We wanted you to be one of the first to know, Maya. Since we're such good friends. Everything inside me shattered. The humiliation, the betrayal, the cruelty of it all. It was too much. I felt tears burning my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of these people who were treating my pain like entertainment. Get out, I whispered. The gallery looked beautiful. 20 of my best paintings lined the white walls, each one carefully lit. I wore a simple black dress and my mother's pearl earrings. The only jewelry I owned that was worth anything. My hands shook as I greeted guests, but I was proud. So proud. The gallery was half full when Victoria Morrison swept in, followed by a crowd of her society friends. My stomach dropped. Oh, how quaint, she announced loudly, her voice carrying across the room. Derek's little girlfriend is playing artist. How adorable. Her friends tittered like trained birds. I felt my face burn, but I forced a smile. Thank you for coming, Mrs. Morrison. Well, I had to see what my son has been wasting money on. She examined my paintings with exaggerated confusion. I don't understand modern art. It all looks like something a child could do. Don't you think, Patricia? Her friend Patricia, dripping in diamonds, nodded eagerly. Oh, absolutely. My grandson paints just like this in kindergarten. The other guests had gone quiet, watching. I saw the gallery owner, Marcus, start to move toward us, but I shook my head slightly. I could handle this. I had to. Contemporary art isn't for everyone, I said politely. But I appreciate you taking the time to. Where is Derek, anyway? Victoria interrupted, looking around. He was supposed to meet me here 20 minutes ago. You know how I hate waiting. I'm sure he's just running late, I said, checking my phone. No messages. No calls. Victoria's smile turned cruel. Or maybe he finally came to his senses about this whole ridiculous charade. Really, dear? Did you think a few pretty pictures would make you worthy of my son? Before I could respond, the gallery door opened. Derek walked in, and my heart lifted until I saw who was with him. Chelsea, wearing a stunning red dress, her arm linked through Derek's, laughing at something he'd just said. The room went completely silent. The cruel prank revealed. My studio, crying, painting angry red slashes across canvases, trying to understand how the two people I trusted most could destroy me so completely. And then Derek showed up at my door. The manipulation begins. "Maya, baby, please," he'd begged, looking genuinely distressed. It was a mistake. A huge, stupid mistake. I was stressed about the wedding, about my mother's expectations, and I made a terrible choice. "But I love you. I want to marry you. Chelsea means nothing to me." I'd wanted to slam the door in his face. But part of me, the weak, desperate part, wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe that our relationship wasn't just another of my failed dreams. "You slept with my best friend for 6 months," I said, my voice hollow. "That's not a mistake. That's a choice you made over and over again. I know, and I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Please, Maya, don't throw away what we have because of one stupid affair. One stupid affair that lasted half our engagement." He grabbed my hands, his eyes pleading. "I'll end it. I'll never see her again. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't leave me. Please. I need you." And God help me, I believed him. Or maybe I just wanted to believe that I wasn't stupid enough to have wasted 2 years on a man who didn't love me. Either way, I agreed to stay, to try to work through it. That was my first mistake. The gallery opening humiliation. 2 weeks later came my big moment. A gallery opening showcasing my work. I'd been working toward this for 5 years, ever since I graduated from art school. A real gallery, in a real space, with real critics and collectors attending. It was supposed to be my night to shine. Derek had promised to be there. He'd even helped pay for the event space when my savings fell short. "I believe in you," he'd said, kissing my forehead. "This is going to be your breakthrough." I let myself in quietly, balancing the takeout containers in my arms. I heard voices coming from the bedroom. Derek's deep rumble and a woman's giggle. My heart started pounding. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe his sister was visiting. Maybe it was a business associate. I pushed open the bedroom door, and my world shattered like dropped glass. Derek was on the bed, shirtless. Chelsea was in his arms, wearing nothing but one of his dress shirts. They were kissing, his hands tangled in her hair, her legs wrapped around his waist. The takeout containers slipped from my hands and crashed to the floor. They sprang apart, faces pale with shock. "Maya," Derek scrambled off the bed. It's not what it looks like. "It looks like you're sleeping with my best friend," I whispered, my voice breaking. Chelsea had the nerve to smile, a small, satisfied curve of her lips. "Oh, Maya, did you really think someone like Derek would be satisfied with someone like you forever?" The words hit me like physical blows. I stood there, frozen, as Derek fumbled for his pants and Chelsea casually buttoned the shirt she was wearing. My shirt, I realized. The one I'd left there weeks ago. "How long?" I managed to ask. Derek wouldn't meet my eyes. "Maya, please, let's talk about this." "How long?" 6 months, Chelsea answered, examining her nails. "Since Christmas. Remember when you went to visit your aunt?" Derek called me, said he was lonely. One thing led to another. She shrugged. "It's been going on ever since." 6 months. Half our engagement. All those times Derek said he was working late, all those business trips, all those moments when Chelsea had been so supportive and helpful with wedding planning. It had all been a lie. I ran. I ran from that apartment like the walls were closing in, tears streaming down my face, my chest so tight I couldn't breathe. I spent 3 days in. Derek had laughed nervously, squeezing my hand under the table. "Mother, please." But she never stopped. At every family gathering, every dinner, every event, Victoria found new ways to remind me that I didn't belong. My clothes were never right. My manners were quaint. My background was questionable. And my art? Well, that was just a cute hobby until I became a proper wife. I endured it because I loved Derek. Or maybe because I was afraid of being alone again. Looking back now, I'm not sure which was true. The engagement party nightmare. The engagement party was held at the Morrison estate, a mansion that looked like it belonged in a movie. Crystal chandeliers hung from ceilings so high they made me dizzy. Waiters in white gloves carried trays of champagne and tiny foods I couldn't identify. I wore a dress Derek had bought me. Navy blue, elegant, expensive. Victoria had insisted on approving it first. She'd circled me like a vulture, then nodded. "It'll do. At least you won't embarrass us too badly." The party was full of people I didn't know. business associates, society friends, people whose names appeared in magazines. They all smiled at Derek and ignored me, except to ask who designed my dress. I was standing near the dessert table, feeling invisible, when I heard the laughter. High-pitched, familiar, cruel. I turned and saw her, Chelsea Park, my former best friend. Chelsea and I had been inseparable since college. We'd shared an apartment, shared our dreams, shared everything. She was the first person I called when Derek proposed. She'd squealed with joy, hugged me tight, and told me I deserved all the happiness in the world. But that was before I caught them. The betrayal behind closed doors. It happened 3 weeks before the engagement party. I'd gone to Derek's penthouse apartment to surprise him with lunch. I had a key. He'd given it to me himself, saying, "What's mine is yours, babe." Welcome to Twisted Heartstrings. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories. The dream that felt like home. My name is Maya Roberts, and I used to believe that love could heal anything. I was 26 years old, living in a tiny studio apartment that smelled like oil paint and coffee. My walls were covered with canvases, some finished, most not. Every morning, I'd wake up to sunlight streaming through my single window, painting golden stripes across my latest work. I wasn't rich. My clothes came from thrift stores, and I ate instant noodles more often than I'd like to admit. But I had my art, and I had Derek. Or at least, I thought I did. Derek Morrison was everything I wasn't. Wealthy, polished, confident. His family owned half the commercial real estate in the city. He wore suits that cost more than my rent, and he drove a car I couldn't even pronounce the name of. When he first walked into the small gallery where I was displaying my work 2 years ago, I thought he was lost. "This one," he'd said, pointing at my painting of a woman dancing in the rain. "It makes me feel something I haven't felt in years." He bought it for $10,000. I nearly fainted. 3 months later, we were dating. 6 months after that, he proposed. Everyone said I was lucky. His mother said I was convenient. The mother-in-law from hell. Victoria Morrison was a woman who wore pearls like armor and smiled like a shark. From the moment Derek introduced us, she looked at me the way people look at gum stuck to their shoe, with disgust and the immediate desire to scrape it off. "So, you're an artist," she'd said at our first dinner together, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "How charming. And what do your parents do?" My mother was a teacher. My father worked in construction. They both passed away 5 years ago, I'd answer quietly. Her smile had widened. "Oh, how unfortunate." "Well, Derek has always had a soft spot for charity cases.